I'm Brendan McCormack, and welcome to the Perth Fitfam Podcast, where you get to hear from the best thought leaders and change makers from across the Perth fitness scene. On episode 31 of the Perth Fitfam Podcast, we have a guest all the way from the UK, Lauren Tickner. Lauren's worked with some of the biggest names within the fitness industry across the globe. She's a personal brand business mentor who helps coaches and creators turn their personal brand into a profitable online business. Today's podcast is sponsored by Fit College Western Australia. Become fitness career fit with the leaders in fitness education and training here in Perth, Fit College. Study on campus at one of their 3 locations across Perth, 15 in Australia, as well as via the flexibility of the managed online course. Become a personal trainer and turn that passion for fitness into an amazing career opportunity. Mention Perth Fitfam to save over $1,500 off your courses and receive free professional fitness insurance with your enrolment. All you got to do is head to fitcollege.edu.au/Perth Fitfam and download the course info pack for everything you need to know. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Healthy Power Meals. Healthy Power Meals is owned by professional athlete and mum of 3, Vesna Spasevsky. Vesna has designed a range of fresh, that means 100% non-frozen meals, using local organic produce from their farm located in Wanneroo, wherever possible. Healthy Power Meals are suitable for everybody. That means women, men, children, athletes, and families. They're nutritious and convenient, not to mention delicious. I eat them myself. Grab-and-go meals which can be tailored and customized to your needs and goals. To take the hassle out of your meal prep, head to healthypowermeals.com.au and enter the code PERFITFAM10 for your exclusive 10% PerfitFam discount. And last but not least, the Perth Fitfam Podcast is brought to you by True Protein. True is unafraid to cut through the noise of an oversaturated market and break the mold to deliver authentic, all-natural products with genuine health benefits and none of the fake stuff. True Protein bucked the trend for expensive, overhyped, bad-tasting supplements and protein powders packed with false promises to reinvent the marketplace and create 100% natural, delicious quality supplements with no gimmicks, nothing artificial, and a completely transparent ingredient list. To shop for True Protein, head to trueprotein.com.au and use the code PERFITFAM10 for an exclusive Perth Fitfam discount. True Protein can also be purchased from a local retailer right here in Perth. So if you'd like to find the closest retailer to you, feel free to send us a message and we'll point you in the right direction. That's all from our sponsors. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Lauren, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm good, yeah, I can hear you. So the sun's going down where I am. Okay. So it's probably going to get a little bit dark, but I've got as much light as I can on me at the moment.
That's okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's good to chat.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, hey?
Yeah, of course. No, I love doing podcasts. They're fun, so it's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome, except one thing which I loved that you did where straight away I was like, okay, cool, we definitely got to chat, is when I sent you that message initially when you replied with a voice message and it was detailed. Yeah, and so straight away I think it's like it's that personal touch that you get with someone, and it's because it's a little bit more personal. It's like, okay, cool, this person knows what they're doing. They really care. They're not just replying through like message. And I'm like, yeah, she knows what she's doing. Yeah, she knows what she knows what she's doing. That's awesome. So thank you so much for being on. I'm cool to go straight into it if you are.
Hell yeah, I love podcasting and I spend a lot of time doing podcasts, so I'm ready to do this.
I know. So I'll let people know how we got on. But first of all, to set you up a little bit, if I can. So you're a business coach and personal brand mentor, but you focus mainly on the online coaching for personal trainers.
That's mainly it. I mean, interestingly enough, I built a brand and a business. You know what, I'm just gonna quickly, because I'm gonna get some like footage while I'm sharing this, so
awesome. Yeah, that's wicked.
and I can like tag you and stuff, but hang on, let me just set that up 2 secs and then I'm gonna just talk to it as well. Hopefully that should work. I should have just put it on the tripod. I don't know why I didn't do that, but hey, here we are now. Okay. Yeah, so I created a brand called Strength Feed. So this hashtag Strength Feed, and it now has, I believe, almost 200,000 posts under it. And so I created ebooks and things like that. I was doing online coaching. That's how I very first started.
Yes.
But then I started doing the ebooks and all that. And you're the first to know about it, but I'm actually going to be creating more fitness programs for people because I'm educating people on how to build an online fitness coaching business. I think it makes sense for me to also have my own online fitness coaching business to just give me that extra added credibility. So yeah, that's something that I'm currently working on at the moment. It was an idea that I've wanted to do for a while and execute on, but it just the time hasn't been right. I wanted to build a foundational business to where I have a bit more free time to work on that. So yeah, that's what's going on now, but I'm really helping people build an online coaching business. So then you're focusing on like building out a community within your area, right?
Yeah. So Perth Fitfam started. So
Awesome.
My background is I've been in the industry for 16 years now, and predominantly,
Wow.
Yeah, long time. So predominantly the biggest portion of that, I was a rep on the ground within the supplement space. And I just built up such a big network, and I got to see so many cool things, like so many different gyms within the niches, whether that was bodybuilding, CrossFit, powerlifting, strongman, pole dancing, like so many things. And I was like, I'll get into it a little bit further. So I'll go back a bit. So that's my background, and that's what I see. And there was this Instagram page, Perth Fitfam, and it was just a resharing platform. It wasn't branded or anything. So this was probably 3 years back this month. And I always thought, man, if I had that handle, I would do something with it. And sure enough, just one day they posted on there. It's just a text post which said, "Hey guys, we're uni students, don't have enough time to administrate the page. If someone wants it, let us know." So I jumped in their DM straight away, hit them up and said, introduced myself, and they actually shared a few of my posts before, so they knew who I was. And they said, "Yeah,
nice.
I offered to pay for it. They didn't end up charging me. They just said, "Yeah, take it. Here's the passcodes." So, of course, I got in, changed the passcode straight away, registered the business name, registered the trademark, Snapchat, Facebook, domain, everything I could, I reckon within a 30-minute space. And for 6 months, just behind the scenes, I just started resharing stuff and really communicating with people through the hashtag and through local hashtags and just learning Instagram. And I'd spend about 4 hours a day just engaging with people until
it's like me. I'm the same.
It became a culture as part of Perth. And so we'd definitely be in the top 10 Perth hashtags now, maybe even coming up to the top 5. But yeah, Perth Fitfam as a brand is just something which is known over here. And then, we've branded it up, ventured out into the vlog content, went through about 18 months of a startup phase of like, okay, well, how am I going to monetize this thing? And I'll chat to you about that on here, how your background and how you went through doing branded sponsored content, and then how you evolved out of that too. But yeah, went through this stage and then started to really refine it in and say, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, and it brings us here.
Awesome.
But you've done some really cool interviews. So you've been interviewed with Ryan Fisher, who's from Shrug Collective, or Barbell Shrug, is what I originally know him as. Yeah. So they're a really big functional fitness, CrossFit style sort of podcast. Eleanor Cardone, who is Grant Cardone's wife.
Yes.
So that's massive. I think most people would know Grant Cardone or heard of him. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's insane. Vince Del Monte, or I don't know if it's Vince Del Monte or Vince Del Monte. So he's one of the original OGs of the online marketing space, isn't he? He was one of the first guys out selling.
He really is. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, so OG, and then he's mentored by Bedros Keuilian and Craig Ballantyne, whose mastermind I've been to.
Yep.
So then I've had Craig on my podcast a couple times, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, your people will probably know of Rob Lipset. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I've heard of Rob before.
Buff Bunny. Yeah, Buff Bunny. I'm having Christian Guzman on my show as well.
Oh, wicked.
So they'll probably know him. Who else would they know of? I think they're probably the main people they would know of.
Just out of my interest, how do you get in contact? How do you network with these people, and then how do you get them on? Because to set up our interview, so you reached, because I was listening to, well, my next one was I found you through the Mind Muscle Project, which is the largest fitness podcast in Australia. I love those guys, love what they did. And I was listening to your podcast with them and you were giving out really good content. So I just thought I'd reach out to actually ask you a question. And that's when you said, hey, I'd love to help out. Why don't we do a podcast together? Yeah. And that's when I went, yeah, cool. Like, you gave great value. You'll be able to give great value to us. But you were also very, I think, like assertive in your way of saying, hey, this is a chance to network out as well, which I'm like, cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's it. I think when it comes to things like this, it's about seeing the opportunity when it comes. So obviously you reached out to me saying, hey, I just heard you on this podcast. Like, I would love to have some tips and stuff. And then I saw that you had a good following and then you had like a podcast. And I was like, well, how about I come on your podcast? And yeah, like you said, it was that being assertive. And so I think so often people kind of let opportunities go to waste. But you just mentioned, like, how do I get these guests on my show?
Yeah.
I really think it's all about a network. So you know how LinkedIn works? And you have like your first degree connections and then your secondary connections and your third degree connections. I really think it's about like second degree. So basically, I was obviously connected with the guys from the Mind Muscle podcast, and then you listen to that, and then I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like when I want to get a guest on my show, I look to my network and who I know, who knows the person I want. Yes. Right? And so every single time that I meet someone who is a bit of a key person of influence, I'll say, oh, hey, by the way, do you have any connections who are making a big impact who'd be good on my show? And then if they say yes, then they just set up a three-way conversation and you just get that contact as fast as possible. And then what I do is, like, when I've had one big guest come on the show, I then use that as leverage in order to get more bigger guests on the show. So I had Ed Milet on my show. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's massive in the entrepreneurship niche. So once I had him on my show, then I could reach out to people such as, well, Grant and Elena. So Grant is going to come on the show in the future, but he was just busy at the moment. So I've obviously had Elena. So that was like easy. Honestly, like, I can DM anyone, and if they reply, then they're going to say yes. Like, some guy with like, he's got like 6 million subscribers on YouTube. I can't remember what his name is. He's coming on the show because I told him that Ed Milet had come on the show, and because I'd seen that Ed Milet shouted him out on his story. And so it's just like, again, being assertive and being aware of who knows who, really, because then you can use that name as leverage to get the person they know on the show.
Do you think that people don't show the same amount of assertiveness just out of fear? Like, they go, oh, there's no way that they would come on my show, and they just never take that first step?
Oh, God, yeah. It's imposter syndrome. It is absolutely imposter syndrome. Like, when I was interviewing Elena, I felt out of my depth for a moment, and then I remembered, like, no, I'm doing this because I want to help people. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy for people to, honestly, the majority of people in the world, they think way too low. Like, they have a basic mind, right? And that's fine, and that's okay. But I know for sure, like, you and we're not like that. That's why we're putting out content and why we're committed to showing up. And so I just think, like, you know, if you shoot for the moon, then you might like end up, I don't know, in the clouds, but that's better than staying on the ground.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just out of fear just don't take that first step, or just don't feel that they can do it. Like you said, like, they feel people might feel they're out of their depth. And you're still really young too. You're only 22, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is also incredible that you've built such a big following yourself, because you're about 180,000, I think, on Instagram at the moment.
On Instagram, I'm like, I think it's like 130, but then I got YouTube as well, which has like 30-something thousand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, like, for me, honestly, the biggest one right now is mainly the podcast. Like, that's where I'm getting the biggest engagement.
Oh, wicked! That's awesome. Because I really want to share the knowledge that a lot of the knowledge that you shared with the boys, because 22. You have a lot of knowledge and a really good background in business yourself. But before we go into that, tell us about your background within fitness and how you got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible because I know when I went on the My Muscle podcast project, I was rambling on, which I think is very easy to do on a podcast.
Yeah.
So I when I was younger, I love food, right? I absolutely love food. Always have, always will. And so I was around 15 and I got to that age where, your metabolism is slowing down a bit because you're not playing outside with your friends anymore. And I think, honestly, that's what it really comes down to because you're not burning as much energy. And so I was gaining some weight and I became a little bit chubby, and I remember one day getting on the scales, and I don't know if you guys use kilos or pounds.
No, we use kilos.
I do not know what it is in kg. Okay, so I know it in pounds. So I'm just going to quickly run to Google and type the number in. I think it was like 150 pounds to kg. So that's around almost 70 kilograms. Bearing in mind, I'm about 5'4". So I was getting pretty heavy and I didn't have muscle on me, okay? So I was always bigger than my friends and I was feeling really self-conscious at this time. I wasn't getting as much attention from guys as my friends were, and obviously I know that sounds super shallow, but when you're a teenager, that's kind of how you think, right? Just kind of cast your mind back to them. And so I was really, really insecure, and I had a lot of friends, but the problem was I didn't feel like I fit in because I was larger than everyone else. So I was getting kind of bullied by the guys in my year, they were calling me Mackie D's, as in McDonald's, because I had a shiny forehead, because I was going through puberty, and so that was actually a few years before. That was when I was kind of 13. So this was honestly probably ages 13 to 15 that this was going on, and so I don't know why I never did anything about it before. I think I was just I didn't really know what to do. I had no idea. I was eating healthy, but I had no awareness about the nutritional content of food, calories. I understood what a calorie was, but I didn't know what it was in practice. So there's a big difference there. And so, I decided that I was going to lose weight. I don't really remember exactly how I made that decision. I don't remember any specific pivotal moment other than seeing photos of me next to friends where I look significantly bigger. So I was drinking all the time, ages 15, 16 kind of, and I then decided, right, okay, I am gonna lose weight. So I Googled how to lose weight, and it said that you need to be burning more calories than your body requires every single day. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting, right? So how many calories can I burn? Well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to burn 500 calories on the cross trainer. So I'd go on the cross trainer, the elliptical, whatever you want to call it, and I would do interval sprints on there. So I'd put it up to level 18, go at that for the equivalent of what the machine says, 10 calories. And then I'd go back down to level 15 for, I think it was 30 seconds, and keep doing that over and over again, for an entire 500 calories. And so I had no understanding of the different components of metabolism, right? I didn't know BMR was a thing. So I was consuming 300 calories per day because I believed that was putting me in a 200 calorie deficit. And so naturally, I lost weight in an insanely fast manner. If you look at photos from Facebook, when you're scrolling through, just kind of looking at and stalking your former self, it literally happened within a couple of months. I lost so much weight, and the thing was I was getting complimented by people. And by the way, can I just quickly say for anyone who's listening, do not eat 300 calories a day. That is not healthy in any way, shape, or form.
Are you saying 300, 300?
Yeah, 300 calories, equivalent of soup and then some rice cake.
That's crazy. Okay.
It was awful. It's unhealthy.
I didn't know if I was hearing that right, because that's incomprehensibly low.
I know. For me now, that's less than one meal, and it's just unfortunate because there's a massive lack of awareness of nutrition in the world. We're always told eat lower calories. So I thought, and in my head, I was doing something that no one else could do. And it was like I was accomplishing something. So that is a very disordered way of thinking, way of eating. If you're listening to this right now and you feel like you're at that stage right now, maybe it's not 300 calories a day, maybe it's 1,200 calories a day. That's still ridiculously low unless you're super, super short. But if you're struggling, like, please go and seek out help. It is so important, because in the long term, you will damage your body. You will damage your mindset, because that's what I'm about to get onto now. So I lost weight in this really unhealthy way, and I got to the stage where I could no longer last a full day in school because I was suffering with panic attacks. So I was diagnosed with anxiety and specifically panic disorder. So I was put on medication for that, and I am not someone who takes medication. Like, I haven't actually taken an ibuprofen or like any sort of painkiller or any tablets for probably about 3 years now. I'm really like, I personally prefer to recover naturally. That's just my personal opinion. Like, other people may have a different mindset on it. That's me. That's what I choose to do for my own body. So the fact that I would actually take pills, like, that shows how bad of a mindset I was in and how bad my anxiety was. And that was because I felt dizzy. And when I felt dizzy, that triggered anxiety. So that's that. But anyway, I got to that stage and I realized, like, I have two choices here. I can either continue on with what I'm doing and literally, like, kill myself, or I can get healthy and work on my goals, because I've always had big goals. I've always wanted to accomplish big things. Back then, I wanted to become the CEO of, like, a FTSE 100 company, which is, like, a real big public company. Yep. That was my goal. And so I was like, okay, I need to get healthy so that I can study, so that I can put in the work. So I then literally went back to my old friend Google, hoping they'd give me some better information this time. Yeah. And I Googled how to gain weight in a healthy way, and all that I could find was weight training. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to start weight training. I slowly eased off the cardio and switched. Like, so I'd go from doing 500 calories to doing 300 calories. And instead of like that extra kind of 20 minutes of cardio, I'd do 20 minutes of weights. Like, I went straight into compounds because I found out about compound lifts. So I'm fortunate about that. And so, yeah, I mean, as time went on, I got really into it. I started documenting everything on Instagram because I saw this community. Actually, you guys will know of, like, Kayla Id Science. I think that's how you say her name. She's from Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I almost just lost my light. Yep. Yeah. So we know Kayla over here.
Yeah. So I saw her community, and back then she probably had, like, oh my God, she did not have many followers at all. But I saw these people commenting on her photos, and I was like, I want to comment, but I didn't want to comment on my own Instagram account because I knew that my friends would see, and I didn't want my friends to be like, Lauren, what are you doing? Because again, I was so insecure, and I knew that I'd get judged. Again, it's like a teenager thing. It's not just like me being insecure, although I definitely was, but teenager thing. So I decided, okay, so I need to make a new Instagram account. So I made one called Fitness Life Lauren, and that was it really. I mean, started this fitness Instagram. It was private. I was commenting on people, but I was finding that they just weren't like engaging back with me too much because my account was private. So I was like, okay, gonna make it public. So I made sure that there were no photos of my face on there. It was just like, it was mainly just my food. Like, if you scroll back on my Instagram now, which is just my name at Lauren Tickner, like if you scroll all the way back thousands of posts, like you'll see these photos. And there was a couple which were just my body with my face chopped off. And so, yeah, I mean, then the boys in my year, they all found it, and I really don't know how they found it. I don't know how they knew it was me, but they found it. They mocked me, they took photos, they posted it to their own Instagram saying, thank you, Lauren, for my 90-day meal plan. And like, I was so embarrassed because back then having a fitness Instagram account wasn't a normal thing. It was no one had one. Like, I did not know a single person. The only people that I knew were people that had an audience online. And so then I kind of like I was going to stop. Fortunately, I didn't. And then changed my username to _Lauren Fitness. And like everyone was pretty much like, I blocked everyone. And then, yeah, I mean, it kind of just spiraled from there because I was focusing on just like giving out good content and recipes, healthy recipes. Because back then, everyone used to like share their recipe, but they'd say, click the link in my bio and go see the recipe on my blog. And that used to really annoy me. Like, I was like, I just want it here right now. I'm classic like Gen Z, whatever you want to call it, like being this young person who just wants that instant gratification. But yeah, then I decided like I'm going to give these recipes here. They were like high protein, healthy recipes. I was sharing them and people loved them. Like they were tagging their friends and it was awesome. So that basically happened, and then I started doing I then went and worked a corporate job working in asset management, realized that wasn't for me, quit my job, started online fitness coaching, went to university, which was at the time the UK's #1 business degree, simultaneously building up my online coaching business, started selling fitness ebooks, created the hashtag strength feed, which now has almost 200,000 posts on it, and all this stuff. And then, long story short, dropped out of uni, and here we are today. And now I'm mainly helping online coaches build an online business, and then also now I'm going to be bringing out a new course about social media and like how to grow on social media, build a business based on that. So there we go.
One question I had for you with the pressure that you got and I guess the online bullying, because I'm not Gen Z, I'm like the Gen X, so I'm like a little bit higher. So social media was around, but not in the same format that you would have gone through. So how did you deal with the online bullying?
Yeah, it was really hard for me, honestly. Like, I didn't deal with it well, if I'm honest. Like, now when I get people commenting and saying things about me, I just find it funny. But back then, I remember one of the guys in my year found my Instagram, and I went into school the next day, and you know that feeling like where I was just so embarrassed. Like, I was so embarrassed. And so when I think about it now, like I can feel the feeling in my stomach.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling where, I don't know, just everything's gone wrong. Like it can only be what I can imagine is like when someone gets arrested. Like that's honestly like what I can imagine that feeling to be like. And so I know that sounds like really a big over exaggeration, but I was 17, I think, and it was like I was kind of like a bit like Hannah Montana. Like I had this whole secret life that no one knew about. Like not even my parents, not even my best friend. And so, yeah, I mean, I didn't deal with it well. I kind of just chose to ignore it. I didn't really say anything to anyone, and I didn't reference it. And so in hindsight, like being the person I am now, I definitely would have said something, but I wasn't confident enough to do that back then. I wish I had said something, but then I think it was about 6 months later when it was kind of like time for us to leave school and everything. I just remember these guys, like some of them went to Cambridge University and stuff. They would come up to me and they would just like apologize and say, Lauren, I'm sorry. And now they come to me asking me for advice. And so I've actually had a couple of people ask them if they can come and work with me, which is funny. And so like, I think it's just hindsight is always 2020, right?
Yeah.
And so unfortunately I didn't ever imagine getting to where I am today, but I knew that I just enjoyed doing it, and so I didn't want to let them stop me from doing that.
Now, prior to leaving your job, give us a bit of a, I guess like a succinct summary of the education and the experience that you had before doing what you do now, because I really want to, I guess, set you up and let people know the knowledge that you have into being able to help you create the successful business that you have now.
So a bit about me is that when I find something that I kind of like, I get obsessed. I get very obsessed. So I personally believe that there is education in various different forms. I think that traditional education is not the best way in order to learn. For sure, if you want to be a doctor, then by all means, go to university. If you want to be anything that really needs that, then fine. I dropped out of a business degree in order to actually build a business because I felt that what I was learning was irrelevant to what I needed to do as an entrepreneur. So I knew that from having previous online business experience that the best way for me to learn, the best way for me to educate myself was through things like podcasts, things like YouTube videos, things like mentors, masterminds, and through doing, right? And so that was why I made that decision to drop out of university, and it was the best decision I ever made. Like, it was literally costing me money to still be there. And so I don't just mean by the tuition fees, I mean like by the money that I was losing. There's an opportunity cost in everything, right? Like, so a bit about my education. When it comes to formal education, degrees, I don't have a degree. I was always good in school for my A-levels, which is like your final year things. I did politics, economics, and French. I have a good awareness of like the world, but the majority of my education comes through just self-education. So when I say that, I mean like I listen to probably about 3 to 4 hours of podcasts per day. So when I was working my asset management job, like there would be times where there's like downtime. So I was in like a department where you had to be very reactive to what the fund managers wanted. So the people who were running the big pension funds and like stocks and shares and all that. And so there'd be periods of time where we just had to be like on watch. So rather than doing the kind of admin boring stuff that I was supposed to be doing, I would be reading about training and nutrition. So I remember from the guys from like 3DMJ, like all the evidence-based guys, like I was always very into evidence-based training and nutrition. So that really helped me when it came to actually building out my own online fitness coaching business and my fitness ebooks and stuff. Like as I said, I've had like thousands of people go through those ebooks and they've told me like these are the most in-depth I've ever seen. So I was kind of like the person in between like the super nerdy PhD guys and then like the regular general population. Like I was like the one who was translating that information into like human stuff. Yep. And so I learned a lot about marketing through building that business myself. And then, yeah, like I said, I then went to university, learned I learned a few things that were helpful, but really not too useful for me. But it's just been honestly years of doing this. Like I've been doing social media now for over 6 years. And so within a lot of different niches, I mean, that's a good amount of experience. Yeah. And I work 7 days a week. And that's just because I love it. Like, I know for some people that sounds kind of crazy, but for me, it's because I enjoy it and it doesn't feel like work. And I know that's super, super cliche, but it's true. Fun, you know, for me, it's like when I was a kid, like I made like a Tumblr blog and I would just like sit and play on it for fun. And that's exactly how I feel about what I do today, except now obviously there's stakes, that being money, and people's, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, that's just kind of how I see it.
It's a good place to be. So what were some of the biggest lessons and I guess failures or hurdles that you had to overcome in the early stage of business?
Oh my gosh, I have made so many mistakes. Like, you see all of the success that people have on social media and all that, but you don't see their failures. Now, I've been very careful to position my brand and show my failures because I know that you never lose, you learn, right? Like, the best way to learn is through your failures. And so one thing that comes to mind is like, you think one thing is going to go one way, but then it never does. So a great example is like, I told you about the hashtag I made, Strength Feed, which is a fitness hashtag that tons of people are using. And so I sold an ebook called the Strength Feed Training Guide. And that one sold like thousands of people have done it and it's awesome. And so then I was like, okay, I really wanted to build out a leggings business and so that people could train on the training guide and then wear the leggings at the same time. So at this time, this was like the majority of my money. I invested $10,000 into getting some leggings made. And so like hundreds of pairs so that I could then sell them. And then I got the samples and then back and forth about 7 times to get the perfect sample. And then I paid the bulk and the bulk came and it was wrong. And so I have an email and he was like, no, there's no way. And then I sent him some pairs to check them. Turns out like, it doesn't mean much to me, but like the vertical wash was done wrong. So anyone who does clothing, that might make sense to you. I don't know. So they literally feel fleecy, right? These leggings that I've been so long making, like probably about 18 months. There are the website, there are the emails, like everything. And so, yeah, like that was gutting. I then managed, fortunately, he gave me, I think it was like 80% of my money back. But that was like a massive lesson. Now, the thing was, I was doing that because like, I didn't have a good understanding of online business. Now I know what I know about online business and how scalable it is to sell things like info products. I would never, never say never, but when it comes to something like that, I really don't desire to do a physical product again unless I can manage the fulfillment through something else. So I don't know, but that's the biggest thing for me. It's really think about what you're actually going to go ahead and do. Just because it's sounds like a nice idea, you need to actually kind of map it all out to see the logistics behind it. So I didn't even really consider how can I actually send these leggings to someone and all that stuff. So in hindsight, it was a blessing in disguise that happened, because I didn't have to go ahead and send out all those things. But at the same time, I was pretty gutted because I really wanted people to get, I knew that they wanted them. They told me they had wanted them, hundreds of people had. So I felt kind of let them down. But yeah, there are so many lessons. I think just the biggest other thing is try to learn from someone who's in a position where you want to be, and literally replicate their steps. I think that's the fastest way to get somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. That's awesome as well, which is a good lead in to where I wanted to go next. So being a coach of online coaches and being successful online yourself, what are some of the key tips that you'd have for trainers that are looking to get into the online space?
I think the first thing is you really need to realize that it's very different doing online than it is in person. So, and I also think it's very, very much more scalable, because obviously you can have unlimited clients, right? Whereas when you're doing something in the person, you're still having to be present in order to generate an impact and an income. So the first thing is that you need to start building your personal brand. That's just fundamental. So I think the best way to start doing that is through posting valuable content on social media. So what do I mean by value? Well, value is something that's educational, entertaining, inspirational, or motivational. I think it has to be one of those four things. Now, in order to do all of this, you need to have a niche. So when you're an in-person personal trainer, maybe you're having a boot camp or something, you can really target anyone, because you just put it out there and anyone really wants to get fit and healthy. It would obviously help if you have a niche, but if you don't, you can kind of still get away with it. Especially if you work in a commercial gym, because they kind of send clients your way. But you'll find the majority of commercial gyms still have a niche because they know what they're doing, right? But anyway, won't get into that here. So you need to have a niche. So what do I mean by a niche? Well, a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm in the fitness industry, so that's my niche. That is not a niche, that is an industry. So a niche is essentially a subsection of an industry. So in fitness, it could be CrossFit, or it could be, I don't know, paleo, or it could be mums. There are so many different niches. So then within your niche, then you need to kind of go horizontal, as I like to say, and pick a sub niche. So let's choose the niche of mums. Okay, maybe let's go with mums who want to lose fat. All right, cool. So now we know that it's mums who want to lose fat. We need to go vertical. And when I say vertical within the sub-niche, what I mean is that you need to pick an ideal client. So mums who want to lose fat, all right, so our ideal client could be a busy mom who also works a 9 to 5 who wants to lose fat while raising her kids. So now you know, oh, what are the problems of this person? Well, she's busy. She has a job. She has kids. She's so occupied with so many different things, so she finds it hard to be fit and healthy. So then you need to realize, okay, so now we know that, it's I can make a solution to her problem. I can post workouts that can get done in just 30 minutes. I can give healthy recipes that the whole family can eat, that taste good, that the kids won't complain about, that are quick and easy to make. All these different ways. So that's the first thing that I would say to people. That's what you need. It's just so key, because you can't, once you know who your ideal client is, you can then move up. I call it the impact triangle. It's kind of this concept I came up with. I won't get into the whole thing today because it will take way too long. But yeah, once you know who the people are, then you know what their problems are, and then you know what products you can create, aka what packages you can bring out or what solutions you can bring out in order to help those people overcome those problems. And not only that, but but you know what social media platforms they're on. So a mum who is super busy, like doing all these things, she's probably not sat there for hours watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
She's probably more likely, maybe, I don't know, on Facebook, because that's where mum's the Facebook groups, or maybe she's like listening to podcasts because she's super busy. So yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Yeah, it's so true. So I'd go through a similar process and go through a customer analysis and run a survey. So if I've ever worked with a client before, or even myself, I'd send out a survey first. So with my own clients, it's funny that you mentioned make sure your posts are educational, inspirational, motivational, or I think the fourth one that you said was just entertaining.
Entertainment.
So literally, so I've got two main market segments, which is consumers, so that's our community, or business owners, which I would say is our wholesale market. But our community, when I ask, what's their biggest issue in fitness? So what stops them from reaching their goals? And it's literally education, inspiration, motivation. Every single time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's literally those three. I've got them listed down. And so when I think, I'm like, okay, is my post like funny? Is it entertaining? Is it inspiring? Is it motivational? Is it educational? So,
That's so interesting. Wow. I'm glad that I nailed that one then.
Yeah, and then the other one was, there's always a question in the survey about social media. So it's like from 1 to 5 list what platforms you use the most. So then you can establish, okay, your focus is going to be on Instagram, then Facebook. Don't worry about YouTube. I think from a lot of the guys that we work with, they're very local, and I don't think that YouTube is super suitable for someone with a specific local market, but someone with a global market, or someone who wants to use the search engine capabilities of YouTube, which you don't really get through Facebook, then obviously that's ideal as well. And then I think it's where your niche is too. So James Smith, also from the UK, he's very, very popular, and he kills it on Facebook, but not so much on YouTube. So he's just always owned that Facebook platform as well. What about from a systems point of view?
So funny that you say that, because my boyfriend's name is James Smith.
Oh, no, and, it's got to be the most common English name in the world.
It's so funny. Well, like, I managed to get my boyfriend the actual, like, @James Smith username on Instagram. Because, like, I know someone who works at Instagram, because, like, she reached out to me to invite me to an event. And so, like, I told her, people keep making spam accounts, so please can we get this username? And then, she managed to get it for us.
That's so good. There you go. It's not what you know, it's who you know. That's great. What about from a systems point of view, without giving away, I guess, too much of what's in your package, but if someone's not currently on the online space, they kind of have worked out what their niche is, what's the step then to enter the online game? Like, what platform should they be looking at? There's obviously a lot of systems involved. So what would be some simple advice that you'd be able to give away, even if that is like, get a coach, check out your courses. Like, is there anything that you'd be able to let the guys know, just as some hints and tips?
Oh yeah, of course. No, I'm all about giving away free content. Like, I actually have a podcast that these people can tune into, like, if you're wanting to build an online fitness coaching business. The podcast is called Business Meets Fitness, so just type that in and you can subscribe to that, and a free workshop as well, which is just going to be at onlinefitnessbusinesschool.com/workshop. But I can send you the link if you want to put that in the show notes. But
definitely.
Like onlinefitnessbusinesschool.com/workshop, then they can get that. And that's going to give them, like, the 3 biggest mistakes people make when they're starting an online coaching business. But I understand that a lot of people listening to this maybe don't want to be online coaches specifically. Maybe they just want to, like, grow on social media. Yeah. So my content kind of tailors to both of those different things. So I'd love to know what you want me to dive into. Like, what do you think your people are more interested in? Because then I can kind of make sure that I tailor what I talk about specifically to who you think is tuning in.
So what I know is I'm going to post this within a group of an education company here called Fit College, which does what we call the Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness. So what I'll do for those guys is direct them to go to the Business Meets Fitness podcast, as well as the Fitness Business School website. But I think the majority of people who are listening to this would just be the general fitness enthusiasts who would be interested in growing their fitness account. So maybe your 3 main tips to growing your Instagram account.
Okay, awesome. It's so funny. I literally posted a YouTube video about this yesterday.
Awesome.
So I think the biggest thing is that like, okay, so there's maybe not going to be like 3 tips here. It's maybe going to be an overarching theme. And I think it's that so often people focus on the wrong things. So they focus on what hashtag should I be using, or what time should I post to Instagram, or like, firstly, is Instagram even the best platform for you to be using? So then it all boils down to what I was saying again, like about knowing who your ideal client or ideal follower is. And also, like, so that's the first thing. It's like, are you focusing on the wrong things? You need to focus on showing up every single day, okay, with that educational, entertaining, inspirational, or motivational content. That's the first thing. So post every single day and add value. Now, something that I've come up with, and I like to call it the impact filter. So this is where every single time you post to Instagram or YouTube or podcast or anything, like even if it's creating a new program, you have to ask yourself, what value is this adding to my ideal client? Or what value is this adding to my target audience? Because if there's no value, aka no education, entertainment, motivational, inspiration, whatever, if there's no value there, then don't post it. I think sometimes, yes, maybe like 20% of your content can be personal. And I kind of like to talk, I kind of call this like the sushi weirdo concept, because like I'm obsessed with sushi and I'm kind of weird. So I like to show that on my social media to mean that people can connect with me on like a deeper level. So it's like the sushi weirdo concept, you know, like, and so that's kind of making sure that you are staying human and that you're not a robot. But other than that, I think like you can kind of intertwine that into your valuable content. So I think really it comes down to showing up every single day, adding value and being human, and then making sure that after then you focus on the other things. So like simple things you can do is like optimizing your Instagram profile. Make sure that your Instagram profile makes sense, like that your username is good, that you're not having some like rubbish username that has tons of full stops and underscores and all that in it. Like I think the easiest thing is just to keep your name or something real simple. I do have an entire YouTube video on how to optimize your Instagram profile, so definitely go ahead and check that out because it will be too long to get into here today, because I talk about all things like having an impact statement and having a clear call to action and link in your bio and having a clear photo and all that. And then, yeah, like just, I think the real big takeaway is like post every single day without fail and add value and make sure that it's targeted at your people. And if you can't do that, then, actually one more thing is like, I think also understand what the purpose of your Instagram is or what your social media is. Like, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Like, why are you posting to social? That's really important. I think like often people kind of want to post and then they just get bored of it because they don't have a solid reason why. But I think one thing that I'd like to say is that there are so many opportunities through just building your platform. Like even if you don't want to monetize and make money and sell to them right now, building up a platform is amazing, because then in 5 years time, let's say you finally realize that you don't want to work a 9 to 5 and you want to go do your own thing, then you have this amazing community and you can do that. There are so many opportunities now. It is insane.
Yeah, which is really cool. And one thing I didn't ask before that I want to touch on, because you were at one stage a Gymshark sponsored athlete, and you're no longer, and then you changed your strategy because you realized, okay, I'm getting X amount either through commissions or clothing through Gymshark, but if you were to focus that energy on your own product, it would be 10 times that amount too. So one thing that I find, and I've grown up in the industry, so I started when I was 18, and I see that everyone wants to be part of a supplement company or a clothing company, and it's almost like an ego or an identity thing. And even if you get nothing out of the deal, people just want to have on their Instagram bio that they're an athlete of some sort. What's your thoughts on that? I kind of know your thoughts, but please explain your thoughts on that.
I used to be that girl. So I can relate to anyone who's thinking that right now. Having been someone who has been the sponsored quote unquote athlete, and I definitely am by no means an athlete, by the way. I find that hilarious. But having been someone who has been sponsored, having been someone who has also been working at an influence marketing agency, the UK's #1 influence marketing agency, and also being someone who has been the brand who works with influencers, I can tell you right now that if you're chasing sponsorship, it is just not the best thing for you to be doing. So let's just say let's say you make a post and let's say a brand is paying you $500 to make that post, which is a lot, by the way. Like, that's a good amount for someone who has probably 50K followers can expect to get. So $500. Now let's say you have an online coaching package where you're selling it for $200 a month, which is low. Like, I advise my clients to work on higher rates than that. But anyway, so $200. Okay, so let's say you make one sale. And then that client, and by the way, the $200 per month can be realistic for someone who has under 1,000 followers. Whereas if you have under 1,000 followers, you're never going to get paid $500 to make a post. So let's say you make a post promoting your coaching in a really strategic way. You're wrapping it into storytelling rather than just being like, buy my coaching, sign up for my coaching, because you shouldn't do that. That's not a good way to make sales. You make a nice story and then you have a call to action at the end, having delivered so much value. You then make one sale, $200 a month. That client then stays with you for 3 months. That's already $600. Okay, now, I really think that people are going to listen to this now and they're still going to think, oh yeah, but I'm different. Oh yeah, but I still want to get sponsored, despite what she's saying, that I don't care to have my own business, blah, 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 blah. That's a very closed mindset. That it really is. You need to have a growth mindset in this day and age. Like, honestly, take it from me. I've been sponsored by a bunch of companies. Like, I still work with Alphalete to this day because I love the brand, and they don't even pay me. Like, I literally just work with them because I like going to the events, and I'm friends with them. Like, so I'm kind of just doing it more so as just a bit of a shout out for them, as more of a favor, because I enjoy being a part of their events and stuff.
That's sort of the luxury of where you're at now as well, though, is that you don't need to do that for the cash. Yeah, and it's literally just, I enjoy doing this, and it's a luxury that now I get to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I think chasing sponsorship is just dangerous. Working with brands is cool, and I love working with brands, don't get me wrong. But, so for example, I just did a sponsored YouTube video, and they paid me like £1,000, and that's cool because I was using their thing anyway. And so I know as well that in that video, I can also promote my own freebies, because then my freebies get people into a funnel, and I can nurture those people, and then I can keep giving them more and more value, and then eventually they will probably decide to purchase from me sometime in the future, even if it's not immediately. So I think it's really about thinking long term, and also thinking brands are not going to be the thing that generate you that income for sure. If you just want a few $100s here and there, then fine. But I don't know about you, but I know that, let's say I can turn this into my full-time income, which I've now done, then that means that I can make a bigger impact, because it means that rather than also working my job, then this can be my full-time thing. And that means that I can use all my time on creating free content that add value to people and help them. And so, yeah, I think that, I don't know. I mean, I could talk about this all day, but I'm just going to stop.
Nah, I think that was really good. It was just a point that I wanted to get across because it's something that I personally see in the industry a lot. And when you made a comment about it previously, I was like, yeah, that's spot on. And I just wanted people to hear it from your point of view and someone that has been in both sides, which I think is cool. But yeah, I think that's awesome. So essentially, just quickly for a plug. So we mentioned that you have 2 podcasts. So you have Impact School, Business Meets Fitness, which is more for your online coaches, the Fitness Business School website as well, where you also
it's
offer
Online Fitness Business School.
Online Fitness Business School. We'll put this in the show notes, and you also have a download for people who want to know how to optimize their social media too. So there's so many opportunities.
Oh my gosh, I have so many free things. If you just go to my Instagram, I will have a link in my bio, and there will be something there that's free. And it's probably right now going to be an Instagram ebook on how to grow on Instagram. And it's going to take you to Facebook Messenger. And by the way, if it's not there in my bio, just send me a DM and I'll send it to you, and you can get in on that. And like soon I'm gonna be doing a free challenge all about how to like spring clean your social media. Honestly, like I'm always doing free stuff, so just tune in.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So last time I checked, it definitely was the Instagram ebook, and I downloaded it, and it's awesome. And once people, yeah, it's really, really cool. So it's cool content. I recommend people go check it out. You'll then get messages from Lauren through Facebook, which also shows that she knows how to run a Facebook chatbot too, which I think is awesome. And yeah, go learn some online business models.
Yes, absolutely. No, thank you for having me. And yeah, I mean, if anyone has any questions, then just send me a an Instagram DM, and I will get back to you. And that's actually how we got connected as well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you like what you heard, we would love it if you head to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. And remember to keep on tagging us in your Instagram stories. We'd love to see screenshots of you guys listening to the podcast. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Perth Fitness in to come.